You know, I'm not telling you anything new if I do say that this is for sure the only really new design that made it to become an icon yet. I don't know any other design that appeared recently on the market of watches that is so quickly recognizable. You instantaneously see, oh, this is a Bulgari Octo Finissimo. There's no doubt. Nothing comparable on the market. There's no lookalike. This is a unique timepiece. Welcome back to WatchAdvisor on YouTube, where the watches are the stars. It's Alexander speaking, your host as always, and on your screen you do see the new Octo Finissimo Perpetual Calendar watch in a beautiful rose gold case. This is the new one we are showing to you, but we do also show you in comparison, so you do have the possibility to compare the watches. We do also show you the Octo Finissimo Carbon Gold Perpetual Calendar watch, that's the black one, and the classical, let's say the standard version. It's not a standard watch, it's the standard version in a titanium case, the Octo Finissimo Perpetual Calendar Haute Horlogerie, as they call it. So all these watches do feature the same movement. It's a perpetual calendar, meaning the watch will know all the dates precisely until the year 2100. So all the changes, 28 or 29 for February, the watch knows everything. I will talk about it in the video. I will run you a little bit through details, sizes, etc., etc. So enjoy our little comparison about the perpetual calendar in that beautiful Octo Finissimo case. And I personally like it very much. We have been following the entire development and history of the Octo Finissimo in several videos. So if you jump into that video right now and you say, oh, I have not seen these watches before, go on our channel WatchAdvisor and please just look for Octo Finissimo videos. You will find plenty of them where we do show you all the world records, all the technical developments. You will hear an interview with Jean-Christophe Babin, the charismatic CEO. So plenty of stuff to discover. But now in this video, it's about the perpetual calendar. And let me right away start with the new one that has recently been presented in that beautifully rose gold or red gold case. Don't forget to subscribe and to hit the bell to get our latest notifications. Normally a full gold watch on the wrist always looks like if it would be too much because yeah, it's a huge piece of gold you're wearing. The approach with the Octo Finissimo is a little bit different because it's an ultra thin watch, of course, and the surface is sandblasted. It's a matte surface, so it's absorbing light and not reflecting light, yeah, due to the fact that it is being polished in very many angles, more than 100 I've been reading. There are some light reflections, of course, but it's not prominently shining on your wrist. It's more a decent way to wear a nice piece of gold. It's ultra light, yeah. You see this because the inner parts of the links, some of the material has been taken out. First of all, yes, the price, the watch would be much more expensive. And second of all, if you are buying such an ultra thin watch, a world record in thinness, and everything is extreme in terms of miniaturization, you want a light watch on your wrist and not a heavy gold bar. No, you want a light watch. No discussions, of course. And this is why I do think that this rose gold is a beautiful way to wear a piece of gold or a nice perpetual calendar on the wrist. Let me start with the indications. It's a perpetual calendar. I said it before. The watch will, when correctly set, always accurately show the month, the date, day, and of course the leap year. Leap year is pretty important to know when you do make the settings because depending on the leap year, we do have 28 days in February or 29 days. And if correctly programmed, the watch will know, of course, all these details and then correctly show the 1st of March. Prominently in between 3, 9 and 12 o'clock on the upper side of the watch is the retrograde calendar day indication. So there is a small hand that will jump once it reaches 30 or 31st or the 20 or 29th of a date back to the 1st and then move one step every day until it reaches again either the 30th, the 31st, the 28th, or the 29th, and then jump back. So we call this a retrograde calendar. Positioned at 8 o'clock, you do have the days. You see prominently written Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and so on. At 4 o'clock is the month indication from January to December. And at position 6 o'clock, there is that little indication 1, 2, 3, L. So it's the first year, the second year, the third year, and the leap year. And if the little hand points at L as it does in our video, then the watch end of February would show the 29th of February because it would know that the month has 1 day more than it has normally. And then it would jump to the 1st of March, of course, to indicate the 1st of March. Spectacular, in my humble opinion, is also the fact that the readability of the watch is pretty good. In general, the watch looks really tiny, small. It is a 40 millimeter watch, yes, but it is not a watch where you expect such a good readability when there is light, because there is no superluminova or anything else applied. So in darkness, nothing. You will have to use your smartphone to know either the time, the date, the month, everything. All the measurements we have been taking for the red gold version, just to make it clear, they are identical with the titanium watch. So the titanium watch and the gold watch do measure exactly the same thickness. Everything is the same. The carbon version is a little bit thicker and longer in terms of lug to lug. So let me start with the perpetual calendar in rose gold. Thickness of the watch is only now please, 5.8 millimeter. 5.8 millimeter. This is really ultra thin. Diameter of the ultra thin sandblasted 18 karat rose gold case is 40 millimeter. I think I said that before. The so-called lug to lug distance is 40 millimeter. The dial aperture, this is always interesting to know because then you know which is the size you have to discover time. In this case, not only time, the day, the month, the leap year, everything you want to discover and be able to read it. So the dial aperture is 30 millimeter. If you're keen to understand, is this bracelet, the fully integrated bracelet, tapering a little bit? It does 30 millimeters down to 20 millimeter in the folding clasp. You can clearly see when we show the watch side by side, the titanium version in gray and the rose gold version, they are identical. So all the measurements are the same, but once the version in carbon appears on your screen, you do see that there are some little differences in sizes. Yes, that's how it is, because the carbon fiber watch is conceived to be a little bit thicker and is also based on a newer case. But still, it's a very, very thin watch, 7.6 millimeters in thickness. That's not really much more. And the lug to lug distance, has to be a little bit more, of course, because if you have more material, then also the lug to lug distance will increase. And in this case, we do have 46 millimeters. The so-called dial aperture is the same with 30 millimeters, and it's ultra light. It's ultra light. We have been weighing it, and 62 grams. That's really almost nothing. So when you put that on your wrist, you have to look from time to time on your wrist and ask yourself, is there really a watch on it? Because I can tell you, wearing a Octo Finissimo really means that the watch literally hugs your wrist, and when the material warms up after a certain while, you start to not feel the watch on your wrist anymore. It happens to me. I do have a freehands version in titanium, and I can tell you sometimes I really have to shake my arms and say, oh, is the watch still there? Oh yeah, it's there, because it's literally hugging your wrist and it feels like if it would be part of yourself. You know what I mean? Of course, we do also know how heavy or light the other watches are. The standard Octo Finissimo in that titanium case weighs 73 grams. Always, of course, always in the configuration as you see it on the screen here, because we have been weighing the entire watch. So it might be that the watch on your wrist, depending on the wrist size, might be a little bit heavier or lighter. So in the configuration as you see it on your screen. And of course, the rose gold version weighs 168 grams. So 62 for the carbon, 73 for the titanium, and 168 grams for the rose gold version. Talking about the Bulgari 305 movement, that is of course a completely in-house movement that is being manufactured in Le Sentier in the Vallée de Joux from the Bulgari manufacturer. The caliber 305 is really just spectacular in terms of miniaturization. We do measure 36.6 millimeter in diameter and a thickness of only 2.75 millimeter. And guys, just in case you can't imagine how thin 2.75 millimeters are, try to find a coin or something comparable and just take it, hold it in your hand, and then imagine with a diameter of 36.6 millimeters, 408 components are integrated. So the entire movement consists of 408 components. That's not bad at all. And of course, such a movement would not be able to carry a winding rotor that operates out of the center. It has a micro rotor. Well done. Of course, you save space, you save thickness, and it is still efficient because it is a platinum rotor that has been colored, of course, to be in a monochrome look. But it is beautifully done. Platinum rotor, the winding is guaranteed. Also, if you are not moving too much, this beautiful movement features a power reserve of, yes, 60 hours. That's pretty amazing for such a little movement. The balance wheel oscillates at 21,600 semi-oscillations per hour or 3 Hertz, yes. And I said perpetual calendar, the next settings you will have to make if you're wearing the watch on a constant base from now until the year 2100. Then there is a small correction in the Gregorian calendar that is not programmed, but this can be done manually, and then the watch will again work properly for the next 100 years or so. Until the next correction of the Gregorian calendar, of course. An eternal watch. So for setting a perpetual calendar, you don't need to be a scientist. It's pretty easy. You have 3 integrated push pieces in that watch. First of all, you should be sure that the watch is set at 10 o'clock in the morning. This can easily be found out by pulling out the crown. You turn it and then you will see that the hands move on. Date and day change happens. You can see that. There it is. Once you know when it is midnight, you continue to turn for 10 hours. You position it at 10 o'clock so the hands won't bother you. And then I would recommend that you start the push piece at 4 o'clock to set the leap year and the month. Yeah. The month, very easy. Then I would take the push piece at 2 o'clock, set the correct date. Using this one, I will advance the date and the day. So this is more or less a corrector you use if you are probably not wearing the watch for a couple of days and you want to do a quick adjustment. Then you can just advance the day and the date, and this will probably help you to quickly set the watch. Then with the push piece at 8 o'clock, do the corrections for the date. So the watch does also show the correct day that is, of course, linked to the date you want to display. Very easy, nothing more to do. Then you set the time, and the only thing you have to do is wear the watch and enjoy it. All the 3 watches do feature a folding clasp that, when closed, makes the watch look perfectly because it's a fully integrated bracelet. The tiny little disadvantage of this construction, it looks perfect, of course, and it has to be slim and has to perfectly integrate in the artwork of the entire watch, is, of course, that folding clasp that does not have any micro length adjustment. If you want to adjust the length of the bracelet, yeah, you have to take out some links. Most likely, if you do not have the tooling, you will have to go to a Bulgari boutique or to a watchmaker that knows what he does, and you will still have the problem that at a certain moment when you have been adjusting the watch, it will probably fit perfectly. But of course, everyone knows that who wears a watch, that there are slightly differences in cold and hot, morning and evening. Your wrist size has a little bit of a variation. And in this case, it might be that a part of the day the watch sits too tight and the other part of the day it is a little bit too loose. This can happen, must not happen, but it can happen. It does happen with the Octo Finissimo I have. So here it sits perfectly, or it's a little bit too loose. But this is how it is. You can't do anything else, because if you would start to implement any micro length adjustment, etc., everything would be thicker, more complicated. It won't work. Forget it. Last thing I want to point out is the fact that the carbon version is a little bit thicker. It's a new case construction, and also good to be sure that carbon is not too thin, because it's still fragile. In normal use, nothing will happen, but okay, a little bit of more is not bad when it comes to carbon. Of course, since there's a new case construction, the carbon version also has a screw down crown. Yes, screw down crown in 18 karat gold. It is mentioned, by the way, on the side, left side, you have that little insert saying 18 karat gold. Since it's a screw down crown, the case is waterproof up to 100 meters. Wow, 100 meters, really a fully functional sports watch. You could even go diving with it if you wanted. Titanium and the red gold versions do not feature a screw down crown, therefore the water tightness is limited to 30 meters. That's not too much, should be enough, because there's always a security on top of at least 25%. So you should be fine for daily use. Maybe I wouldn't jump into a pool or wear the watch under the shower, but for all other activities, even swimming, should be okay. This was our little presentation of the new Bulgari Octo Finissimo Perpetual Calendar watch in an 18 karat rose gold, sand blasted, looking gorgeous. And if you ever thought about, I could maybe wear a gold watch, but all these gold watches are so heavy and so bulky and so shiny, try the Bulgari. It is really, it is different. It is an Octo Finissimo, of course. It is something particular. You either like it or not. I'm very fascinated about the design. For me, this is really the only watch in the last, 10 years at least, I would want to mention as a big shot. There have been, some watches coming to the markets, but there's nothing comparable to the Bulgari Octo Finissimo watches. Okay, thanks for watching a video on WatchAdvisor. Be sure to check out our website, our Instagram account, and all the other TikTok, whatever we do and present. And be sure to set the bell and everything that you don't miss any new videos. Bye-bye from my side. I hope you enjoyed the video about this Bulgari watches, and see you back soon on our channel. Bye-bye.